Hey, how you doing? So you guys have seen the video going around the frequently asked beer questions. So this is the Dean List installment of frequently asked beer questions. And a couple days ago, I was tagged by the man, the myth, the legend. He's not a myth. He is a legend, very well deservedly. But SJ Porr, he tagged me at the end of his video to do the frequently asked beer questions that Tasty Niche started. Thank you, SJ, for tagging me for the challenge, and I wholeheartedly accept. That said, I'm going to be sipping today on the Red Dead Saison from, I don't know if it's Saigon or Saison, I think it's Saison, from Mike from Raging Goat Brewery. So this is the second of 7 beers he sent me, and I'm a guy that likes malt, and this is a great freaking malt bomb. It doesn't really, it's weird. He did a brown ale, and I thought it was more of a porter than a brown ale. This one seems more like a red ale than a Saison, but I don't care. It's freaking good. It's really good. Dude, I love this beer. Thank you. So anyway, okay. So let's go ahead and get into the questions here. What was my first beer? My first beer was, I believe, a Pabst Blue Ribbon, PBR, believe it or not. And this was in, I think I was near Lake Hamilton, Arkansas. My parents had moved up to Arkansas for 1 year, and there was this guy who was in a military family, and he was in the States. They were stationed in Germany. I guess he had grown up in Germany. He had the coolest mullet, this dude. Can't remember his name. This would have been in 1984, 83, 84, maybe. Yeah, maybe 83. So I was about 13, and we went out on a boat. This guy was driving a boat. He was probably only 16 or 17. Maybe I was even younger. Maybe I was 12. I don't know. But he had a whole shitload of Pabst Blue Ribbon, and it was pretty good. I don't really remember it, but I've had some since, like recently in the past year, and it's not bad. It's a pretty good, blue collar working man's beer. So yeah, that was my first beer. The second one I remember wholeheartedly because it was a Coors Light, and that thing, it was my brother's 18th birthday party, and for some reason my parents went and got a suitcase of beer, and I was supposed to have 1 or 2, and I ended up having probably 6 or 7, and it was not a good night. So anyway, that's for another story. How did I get into beer geeking, or how did I become a craft beer geek? So yeah, like everybody, I probably started out as in my beer career underneath the causeway of 520 in Cocoa Beach, Florida, drinking Busch Light, with the best of them. And it wasn't until I joined the Army, and I was still drinking craft beer when I was an enlisted guy. Then all of a sudden I got commissioned as a lieutenant, and I had a little bit more money in my pocket, and I was hanging out with a bunch of lieutenants. And we were stationed in Sierra Vista, Arizona, and they had this sports bar called the Sports Gallery, and it was like a pub kind of atmosphere. We would go up there for Monday night wings. We'd watch football, and wings were like 15 cents a piece or something crazy. We had Wednesday burgers during lunch. You'd actually gamble. They had gambling on Wednesdays. I think it was on Wednesdays. Yeah, I think it was Wednesdays. You do horse betting, right there at the Sports Gallery. And then Friday was something. I can't remember what Friday was. We had a special thing for almost every day of the week. But anyway, that was the first time I'd really had, pints of or 16-ounce glasses of craft beer. I think that was, some of the early ones, like Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, and I didn't really like the IPAs back then, so I was probably drinking Fat Tire or something like that. But once I tasted craft beers and not the crap beer that I had started out with, it was a whole new world for me. And very quickly I learned that I really, really love craft beer. So, but anyway, that's kind of the start of it, and it wasn't until much later, probably well into the past 2010 season, when my wife bought me a kegerator, that I really started getting into beer geeking and took it to a whole new level. My favorite beer is it's a hard one. It's either it's either Pliny the Elder or Heady Topper. Probably Pliny the Elder. It's been a while since I had Heady Topper. But yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one. I think it's Pliny the Elder. I like the New England IPAs. They're kind of cool and juicy and all hazy and all that, but no, Pliny's a classic. I only had it like recently when my bottle shop lady gave me one, and it changed my life. That beer is me. That beer, if I could make a perfect beer, Pliny the Elder would be it. So that's what I strive for. I make a lot of double IPAs. So if I could only have one beer for the rest of my life, what would it be? It would probably be Treg's Fresh Squeezed IPA. I don't know if you've had it, the artwork. It's got this little hop on there, and they're putting screws to it, and it's got a little juice coming out and all that. Awesome beer. It's a good, easy drinking IPA. Well, it's not easy drinking. It's probably 6.5% to 7% or something like that. But it's just a really tasty IPA. And if I had to stick with something, that's kind of got the best of all the different things that I like, and that would probably be it. How can I drink so much and stay healthy? So right here, I'm gonna put in a little video clip. So this is how I'm able to stay in shape while drinking all that high calorie homebrew. I'm about to go run. I'm only gonna run 4 miles. It's a beautiful day, so gotta do it. Cheers. Okay, hopefully you saw me, doing a little bit of jogging, but that's how I do it. I'm not as healthy as I used to be. I'm not doing bad right now. I'm training up for a 10-miler later this month, but I do a lot of running. I run so I can drink beer, really. I don't know if you've ever done a House Harrier, run, but those are, what do they call them? Drinkers with a running problem, I did one of those again back when I was stationed in Arizona, and that was another chance when I got exposed to really good beer, and it's really fun to go and run 4 or 5 miles, and then at a pretty good clip, and then when you finish, catch the hair or whatever. You don't catch the hair, you end up and you're slamming good beer. That's it's very refreshing after a long run. But anyway, yeah, running is how because the beer, face it, the beers we drink in the homebrew and the craft beer world, they're not light by any stretch of the imagination. You're normally drinking Imperials or Russian Imperial stouts or hefty IPAs. They have a lot of calories compared to probably 3 or 4 times a regular beer. So, you drink a couple of those, and it'll start to add up. Plus I'm 46 now. As soon as I hit 40, I started finding that I had to do a little bit more running. It's cool. I can work out and get a little stronger, faster, but the little tire here, you really gotta stay after it. Am I an alcoholic? Question number. Question number 6. No, I'm not an alcoholic. I can say that emphatically because I've had times in my past career as a Army officer where I deployed for a year at a time, and I think if I was an alcoholic, you would go through like withdrawals and hand shaking. And I remember when I was a private, I went back in the late 80s, early 90s. My first duty assignment was in Turkey, and it was a couple of us privates. We met our first sergeant for the first time, and he comes in with a six pack of beer and throws us one. Well, this dude, he would come in the mornings. His hands would be shaking. He'd go into his office and close the door. You'd hear a psh, you'd hear the crack of like a Schlitz or something, and he'd come out and he'd be fine. So that dude was an alcoholic. I'm certainly not an alcoholic. I like drinking. I remember I was with this warrant officer, and I think we were in. It was during our Afghanistan deployment. We went somewhere where you were Manus or so. I forget where it was. You were allowed to drink a couple of beers. Anyway, we had, I think, 2 or 3 beers. And we said, that's kind of the perfect amount. Somewhere between 2 and 3 beers is where you get that nice kind of pleasant, I drink beer for the taste, really. And it has this fortunate side effect or unfortunate if you look at it, because I don't like getting drunk because you start feeling dizzy and headaches in the morning and all that. I try to stay away from that. But I like after a couple of beers, you get that pleasant feeling. I just wish that sometimes the alcohol gets in the way. You want to enjoy all these really tasty beers, and you can't because the alcohol starts adding up. And so anyway, What's my favorite ingredient? Hell, that's easy, man. My favorite ingredient, I'm a malt dude. If you haven't ever like chewed like raw malts, I know all the homebrewers have, but you know, now I've got my grain in bulk and I can go there and chew it whenever I want. There's something about walking into a homebrew store. And the first time, you smell the malt, and it's got that bready, like, I could bathe in it. I love malts. I don't know if you can tell, but I really, really, really like malts. And I like malty beers too. That's probably why I like this Saigon, or this red Saison. It's really, really malty. I like it. Do I brew? Oh, hell yeah, I brew. Look at that. I try to brew every couple of weeks. I started brewing in 2014, I think, so I'm a little over, was it 2014 or 2015? Late 2014, I think. So 14, 15, 16. So yeah, it's, 2.5 years, something like that. I'm doing okay. I average about, 5 gallons every 2 weeks is about what I brew, which I think it actually, don't tell anybody, but I think it exceeds state law. But yeah, yeah, I brew. I love brewing. I love everything about it. It smells good. It tastes good. I get to consume what I make and all that. And then finally, who in the beer world do I look up to? When I first started, I'm kind of a literal guy, so I have to read the theory first. So, I read Charlie Papazian. I read John Palmer. I read, How to Design Great Beers. All these guys that wrote these books were kind of my forefathers, I guess. But who I really look up to, because everyone knows those guys are brilliant and, they're famous for a very good reason. But I really look up to the SJ Porrs, the Under the Table Brewings, the, Lou Brew, Kevin Clements and Clements Home Brewing and Paul Wicksteed. That's probably one of the first guys I think I watched. His videos were just so damn fun, and it really, when you're getting into homebrewing and you watch someone like Paul Wicksteed, it just makes it so much more interesting and fun and really get you fired up. He was very, very good at that. SJ Porr and starting Homebrew Wednesdays, and I like kind of salt of the earth people. I like people that are real and down to earth and not pretentious. And this community we have in the homebrewing land is it's phenomenal. Josh Secor, another one of my guys I look up to. And this new guy, not new guy now, but Andrew Cooper joined us. That dude is crazy good at making recipes, and I just watch all these people, and what's his name, Josh from Northern Accent. I love watching his videos, and he's another guy, salt of the earth, down to earth, kind of folks, and it's like an extended family for me. And so really I look up to all these folks, honestly. And the fact that I can be part of this community is special to me, and I really am proud of it and enjoy it, and enjoy being part of the group. So I'm gonna tag some new guys. Mike Phillips from Raging Goat Brewery, guy whose beer I'm drinking here. I want to hear your story. Drunken One, dude. I don't know if you've already been tagged, but I have got to hear your story. I'm sure that's going to be fun. I would also tag Carlisle if you haven't been tagged yet. I'd like to hear how you got into homebrewing. I think I probably know, but it'd be interesting hearing your story. I'm supposed to tag 5, right? So that's 3. Lou, if you haven't been tagged yet, Ryan Lewis, I would like to hear your story. How about take some advice? I don't think he's out there anymore. Thank you again, SJ, for the tag. Anyway, that's all we have from Dean's List. So cheers. Hey, I suck. I should have added to that list of people that I look up to. Wally, my man, Feck, Mash Paddle. I got to add you guys to that list because you guys are cool. Cheers.